Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Feed the Beast. I just wanted to check on my farm here, and I noticed that one of my workers has apparently taken a job elsewhere because he is not doing his job at my farm anymore. Our straw golem is absent, so we're going to have to recruit another farmer to work on this farm, although I don't use it that much anymore. But still got one loyal guy. I don't know what happened to the other guy, but I just thought that was interesting that he's gone. But that is not the purpose of this episode. On this episode we are going to work in the hub. We are going to get into Railcraft. Back in the hub, and today I am going to tear that wall out, and we are going to create a train depot, or station if you will. Back behind that I'm going to create some new farms over there beyond that little lake on the side of it, and I want to run a train over there. I could use an ender chest, but I wanted to play around with Railcraft a bit and see what that was all about. So a lot of work to be done here. I'm going to have to empty all these barrels, and I've already started doing that on the top. But now that we've got our ME storage from the last episode, we can now start utilizing that and put some of these items into that storage. So I will come back when I have the basics of what I want to do with this depot. Okay, I've got that hollowed out, and all those barrels moved. That took quite some time. But this is the room I've got I constructed for this. A little tall, but I did want to get some outside light in here, so that's why I did that. Right now I'm deciding on whether I'm going to do an in there and an out there, or in, out, and have two different sets of tracks, one maybe going to another location, because at some point in time I do want to go rob some villagers from a village, and I don't have a portal gun yet, so decisions, but I'm gonna try a couple of things out and build some tunnels. I'm gonna use a turtle to tunnel that out, so I will be back. Okay, I have come quite a ways on this. I've got some track built. It's not completed by far, but tunnels dug, tracks all the way out to the end of the tunnel, and I have been experimenting with how these auto loaders and unloaders work, specifying which particular cards, how to pull items out and so forth, and I've got that figured out. Next thing I'm going to be working on here is the liquid loaders, and I'm going to have to put a couple of tanks up here. We're going to want to fill our steam locomotive with water and also furnish it with fuel to turn it to steam. So I'm going to have one tank up here with water, and then we're going to have another tank with biofuel, because I'm going to haul biofuel with a tank cart out to where the farms are and run those engines off of biofuel, just to do something different. And I've already got, 3 tanks now full, well, on the way to being full with biofuel, because I'm creating quite a bit of it. But I've got a new problem. My lava tank is not filling up, and I went and checked in the nether, and I am going to have to stop and move my pump finally, which I've got my hub here. I'm going to want to keep a chunk loader, so I'm going to have to make a chunk loader for that, and I'm going to need a chunk loader for my farms. But I have pumped this area dry, so I'm probably going to move over there and set up a new pumping station over there. So that's going to take a little bit of time as well, but I don't want to let these engines go dry, so I'm going to have to stop here what I'm doing and take care of that. So I will do that. I'm going to finish out these tanks and start them to filling up, and then I'll continue with the build. Oh yeah, I've been on a roll. Got my crowbar in my hand and I have got this project almost complete, and this has been by far the largest, longest project that I've worked on in quite some time. By far for video. My voice is even hoarse because I've been so many hours on this. As you'll notice behind me, we've got two tanks, one filled with biomass, 56% full, one filled with water, 100% full. I have got those going to liquid unloaders, and we'll go take a look at what those do. Here we are. This is the train hub. As I was talking about, we've got one tunnel. I'm not sure what we're going to do with that yet. It might be a passenger train over there. But these are set up. This one's set up to only talk to the locomotive. It'll only dump water into that. This one will only dump into the tank cart. This here is an item loader, and it'll only talk to the locomotive, and it'll load them with charcoal. So I've got tons of charcoal. I do have coal coke, but I'm hanging on to that for now. This charcoal's working just fine. Here we've got an item unloader, and it'll only talk to the chest carts. The chest carts, this is just a simple contraption I've got here, and as you can see, my rubber farm's performing very well, and we'll go have a look at that as well. I've got this filled with charcoal. I've still got plenty beyond that. I've got this set up with a target gate that'll tell the red pipe signal to pull stuff out of the chest when the inventory is empty, and this works plenty fine. And this is about how much it'll pull out if the locomotive takes it all. So that's a nice size stack there. So I've got this set to stop here. I'm used to using these holding tracks to stop and start the train, as just for testing purposes for right now. So let's go ahead and put some of these guys on the track, and we'll show you a little bit about how they work. Let's put the locomotive down first. That's not the direction that I want him to go, but that's very easy. Just a right click and it'll turn him around. As far as his inventory, he's steam driven, so we feed him charcoal and we feed him water. So let me grab a stack of charcoal here. I'll pop that in there. Right now he's in shutdown mode, so nothing's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and we'll give him some water. And let's give him 2 buckets. You can see how much water that he can use at a time, and this thing holds just the same amount, so it's pretty interesting. He'll stop and get water when he needs it. So let's go ahead and add some carts to this. We've got let's go ahead and put down a couple of chest carts, and the way you do this is you pop this down, you get your crowbar, shift right click and it'll start a link, shift right click and it'll create the link. So now those two are linked together. Let's do another. You gotta be careful as you get them too far apart, the link will fail, but those are hooked up okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and let's throw down the tank cart. Get him linked up. And then I'm using this anchor cart to keep the chunks loaded wherever he may be. So let's... Oops. Let's see if that'll come around. Okay, stop. Okay, good. Try this again. There we go. Now we've got them all linked together. So what I want to do next is turn this guy on. Now the biomass I'm taking over to where the rubber tree farm is, and that is running the engines that are powering my rubber farm. And I've got an energy cell over there that when I got the farm started, but I decided to leave it over there. So the engines basically charge the cell, the cell runs the farm. So let's go ahead and fire this guy up. I'll just put him on idle, and I usually run him on the 3-speed is fast enough. But he's got to build up steam, and once it gets to 100 degrees centigrade, it'll start building steam over here. And then he'll start building. Once he's got steam, here comes the steam. Once he gets all steamed up, then that won't blow through as much charcoal. It may look like it's going through it very rapidly here, but this will calm down. So he's ready to go now. So I've got a stop track over at the farm but why don't we take a ride? We'll do that. We can do that. We'll go for a ride. Okay, so let's turn this guy on. Oh no, wait, come back. I want to ride. Now, if you get hit by this train, it will kill you. So, make sure to not get in front of the train ever. While I was building the area to load and unload over at the rubber farm, I almost got killed by a creeper 2 times. It's a bad area. I've got to get some more lighting over there. But the one time I was down working and I came up and the train had just went by, and all that was left on the tracks was some gunpowder. So train ran over a creeper, saved my life. So it's already a good thing. Now this took quite some time to lay all this track and burrow through this jungle. It was quite the ordeal. But it's kind of a nice little ride here. Here's my loading and unloading station. Now we should stop here, and then I'll explain a little bit about what I've got going on here. Here's our liquid unloader. It'll only accept from the tank cart. It's empty now, and what'll happen here is it'll dump into this little tank here, which I've got half full. This was full earlier, so it's efficient, the rail machine. I've got it pumping into these engines, which in turn pumps into this cell and is running this rubber farm. Now I'll go into a little detail on this farm as well, because I looked to heck, and you can see some sticky resin coming out of there right now. I couldn't find hardly any information on how to get this going, but as far as the building of the farm, it is very easy. There's lots of information on that, but as far as how to set this up, there wasn't a whole lot. I did need one of these intricate circuit boards, and we'll show you how to do that. And you notice it says rubber plantation 4 times. That means on every side of the farm. It does use fertilizer, but it doesn't go through very much of this at all. I had a full stack in here last night, and it's still only down to 51. To get this farm running, you do need water, and I've got an aqueous accumulator with some liquiduct pumping into the farm, and there's a power block. You can feed this thing through that hatch on that side fertilizer, but I've just been doing it manually for now. In order to get items out of the farm, you do have to pull from the bottom, and you notice you do not need a wooden transport pipe. It'll automatically eject things out the bottom if there's a pipe there. So I've got it pushing up to a chest with pipe, and I've got one of the same deals here going with the autarkic gate. If there's space in the inventory, it'll send up. Now this thing will hold up to 9 stacks of items, so it does not, you're not going to get that much rubber in one passing, so he can do the space in the inventory thing. It works out just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and start the train, and I don't think I'm going to ride it this time because somebody's going to come get me or something. It's dark out. So we're going to let this guy go. Now they are going to stop here, and all that sticky resin is going to get put into that cart. So we're going to rush back and see him fill up his tank at the same time. Take a little nap maybe. But it was quite fun working on this locomotive project and this Railcraft. Just took us a long time to get everything put together. Let's take a quick nap. Gotta get the shut-eye in. Alright. One of the things I may do, just in addition to this, is like put a light that comes on when the train is coming, so I know that be careful and not just run out here on the tracks and get killed, and then a green light once it starts leaving, so that way I'll know for sure. The other thing is that anchor card. It's kind of stinky that you have to use ender pearls, but I mean, one pearl for 12 hours isn't that big of a deal. Here he comes. Now he's going to stop here and he's going to dump. You can see that sticky resin going into that chest there. He's going to dump all that into that chest. He's going to stop here and get as much coal as in that unloader. Then he's going to fill up with his tank cart. Will fill with biomass. That's happening right now. You can see it filling that tank up there. Takes a little bit of time to fill that guy, but not a whole lot. As I said, that as many trips as he makes, he does fill that tank up that's underneath the farm area. Now you notice that once this was empty, it's pulling the charcoal out. It gets a fair amount in the time. It's one of the reasons why I don't have a chest right on that thing, is it'll get a fair amount there. That is very interesting. I don't know what just happened there. It's going backwards. That is the first time that has happened. So I'm going to have to look at why that happened. That's interesting. Only when you're doing video will stuff like that happen, so I'll have to take a peek at that. But I was going to show you that that's how to make the circuit board and put those tubes in to make it be a rubber tree farm. So let's do that. In the carpenter, to make the circuit board, 3 pieces of gold and redstone on each side will create the intricate circuit board. This is the board you need for the farm, so we'll let it do that. Actually, let's see, 6. So we'll go ahead and grab one of those once that gets done here, and then we'll go ahead and I'll show you how to make their rubberized electron tubes, are what you need for the rubber plantation. Okay, that's done. Intricate circuit board. You'll notice I've got a soldering iron. You need that to work on the circuit board. So we've got rubber here, and you're going to put rubber in an upside down T with a redstone on each side, and that'll give you 4 of these rubberized electron tubes. So let's go ahead and grab that. We'll put our circuit board in our hand, or soldering iron. So if we right click, starts off with electric engine. That's not what we want. We want a manual farm, as I believe is the one we want for this. Let's put the circuit board up here, and then if we grab our rubberized tubes, you'll notice it says rubber plantation. Now we have our circuit board for our farm. So that's how that was done. Wasn't a whole lot to that. Now we need to see what's going on with this train here. Not used to it coming down that side. So I'm going to do a little cut here first, and we'll see if we can't get this guy working correctly for you. Okay, I went back and watched the video and went and got the train. What I did notice is that the anchor cart ran out of ender pearl at some point because it died when an unloaded chunk over there. It just sat there and ran out of water. And he's full now because he just filled up, so he should be okay there. But I'm going to go ahead and put an ender pearl in this guy, and then we'll see if he goes around. Now he's loaded for 12 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and send him off. And I'm going to watch here and make sure that he comes back and does his thing normally. When he comes back, I will come back in. Here he comes. Let's see what happens this time. Should be pretty quick because he's been dumping all this stuff. The only thing he's going to have to wait for is that tank to fill up there. One of the other things, I might have been running him on a 2-speed instead of a 3-speed, and that might be causing him to flip out when he goes around this corner. That's the only other thing I can think of that might be causing him to do that. And I intentionally did a 2-space in between these tracks, so I didn't think it'd be as tough for him to get around the corner with as many carts as he has. So the slower speed may be necessary for that. Let's see if he makes it. This is where it... Oh, he did just fine that time. So that might have been the ender pearl might have been the issue then. I did not change his speed, so I guess he's working okay now. One of the things I did want to mention about that rubber farm before I leave you for the day is that it does work with dirt, and since it is a manual farm, you actually have to plant the trees. That is one of the things that I spent a fair amount of time on while getting ready for this episode. Was I was expecting the farm to plant the trees, and it does not. You have to plant the trees. Make sure you leave at least one space between them so it can get in there and get the resin. And then dirt works just fine for that. Other thing that took me a long time was I made one of these advanced item loaders for the train. I could not get that to work to save my life. I don't know if it's bugged or what's going on, but this is just a standard loader which is working just fine. An advanced loader doesn't need to be above the cart. It can be to the side or below or whatever, but that's the only advantage to that I know of. So this regular item loader is working fine. All in all, I think it's a good system, and besides that one glitch just here on video, it's been running great. Yeah, if got any questions on this, please feel free to leave a comment. If you got any suggestions, ideas, feel free to put them down as well. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Other than that, have a good one.